The Middle East has been plagued by conflict for decades, and despite efforts to find a resolution, the situation remains complex and heartbreaking. From the ongoing conflict in Syria to the tension between Israel and Palestine, the region has seen its fair share of violence and suffering. The conflict in Syria has been ongoing for over a decade and has led to the displacement of millions of people. The country has been torn apart by a civil war that has seen the government, rebels, and foreign powers fight for control. The situation has led to a humanitarian crisis, with many Syrians struggling to find basic necessities like food, water, and shelter. The conflict between Israel and Palestine is another ongoing issue in the Middle East. Both sides claim the same land, and the tension between them has led to violence, protests, and loss of life. The situation is further complicated by the involvement of other countries, including the United States, who have taken sides in the conflict. Iran has also been a source of tension in the Middle East, with protests against the government and its policies, as well as military parades showcasing the country's military might. The situation is further complicated by Iran's nuclear program, which has led to international sanctions and the possibility of military action. The ongoing conflict in the Middle East has led to a refugee crisis, with millions of people displaced and seeking shelter in refugee camps. Aid workers from around the world are doing their best to provide basic necessities like food, water, and medical care to those in need. However, the situation remains dire, and more needs to be done to help those affected by the conflict. The ongoing conflict in the Middle East is a complex and heartbreaking situation, and it's important for all of us to educate ourselves and support humanitarian efforts. Only then can we hope to find a peaceful solution to this ongoing crisis. The stories of those affected by the conflict in the Middle East are heartbreaking. We spoke to a Syrian refugee living in a camp to hear firsthand about their experience. "I had to flee my home with my family when the bombing started. We lost everything, our house, our belongings, and some of our loved ones. Life in the refugee camp is hard, but at least we have shelter and food. We just want the violence to stop so we can go back home and rebuild our lives." Finding a resolution to the conflict in the Middle East is not easy, but peace negotiations are a step in the right direction. However, progress has been slow, and many have lost hope for a peaceful solution. We spoke to a political expert to better understand the root cause of the conflict in the Middle East. The conflict in the Middle East has many complex layers, from territorial disputes to religious differences, to foreign interference. Finding a solution requires a comprehensive approach that addresses all of these issues. It's not an easy task, but it's crucial if we want to see a peaceful and stable Middle East. The ongoing conflict in the Middle East is a tragedy that affects millions of people. We must stay informed, support humanitarian efforts, and advocate for peace to help bring an end to this heartbreaking situation.